This program is brought to you by Donku Communication Company Limited. Fixing South Sudan. Ideas for the new nation.
With the award-winning journalist, Magok.
Absolutely.
Honorable Chief, as you can see, the ideas of the initiatives are varied.
On July 8th, the clashes in J1 took place, which was very unfortunate.
Including country-specific ones, which the rebellion continue to be
Fixing South Sudan. Ideas for the new nation. Hello and welcome to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Adingor. Our guest is Honorable James Magok Chilimichok, the Managing Director of South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation. Our idea for Fixing South Sudan, SSBC. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
We are welcoming you to your own broadcasting corporation.
Thank you.
So SSBC was SSTV. So explain the change.
Thank you for the show, and thank you, Madingor, for bringing me to Fixing South Sudan. SSBC result from the law. SSTV was the department within the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting by then. Then when the media bill, which is the media law, presented to the parliament, the creation of South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation came out of the law. South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation was designed by law and approved to be public broadcasting institution rather than the department in the Ministry of Information. So to become the parastatal of the government independent corporation for public broadcast.
As they often say, it's supposed to operate from an arm's length from the government. Is that what is happening?
Yes, for now that's what happened. It's operate as arm's length of the government, but in transitional it will be independent corporation which deal with the public broadcast independently. It will not be as government institution as it used to be, but within the time frame it will exit from the government responsibility to become a public corporation that is independent.
So tell us how is it governed?
South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation as a structure that starts with the board of directors appointed by the president, vetted by the parliament, and then South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation have the management, which is being led by the managing director, also appointed, and then now the staffing. South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation has two stations, the television and the radio. So the structure is a board of directors is a policy-making institution, the policy-making body. And then the management is being led by the managing director, which is doing the day-to-day activities. That means this body as independent by law, having the board of directors to do the policies of the institution. So the board of directors, which is the policy making, has that direct link either to the parliament or to the Minister of Information, and the link to the Council of Ministers. That is the arrangement.
The TV and radio is a mirror where the nation sees itself, hears itself, and so it has an important role to play.
Indeed, SSBC is actually showing the face of nation, because what SSBC have done now is to make sure that the face of South Sudan outside is reflected in a clear manner. Number one, you can see the South Sudan Broadcasting as a station or a public broadcast that can be equated with the regional station. Two, it is where the government actually lay out the policies, what to do and what not to be done. Actually, it is where the government is a mouthpiece or the mouthpiece of the government to speak to the public. That's about it. And that's where the SSTV used to do. But when it becomes now a corporation itself, it will be a public broadcasting that deal with the public and do the public demand. So broadcast what the public want.
How big are the operations of the TV and the radio?
Currently, we have TV is a bit bigger than the radio because TV covered the whole nation as well as across the world. We are on the satellite system. The radio is still covering only the Juba, and we have not yet gone. But we have a medium wave that covering the whole country. We have about 446 staff with the 3 stations, the one in Wau and the Malakal that was destroyed, plus the one in Juba, the main center. So that is the big capacity we have.
So you have a country that is huge and many states. So how do you cover South Sudan so that everyone identifies with the radio and the TV? Everyone, every ethnic group sees themselves in the TV and the radio.
Currently, the SSBC is giving a wide coverage to the entire state, 32 states, plus the BA. This coverage goes across, and what we do, we bring every state. That's why we have what we call focus, state focus. We bring every state on board. We are covering state because all our crews roll into all the states. Not only that, we have a plan to take our relaying station from the FM to every state. And that's a plan we have now. And relaying station will be in every state to make sure we have covered the entire country with the radio. But currently, the medium wave covering the whole country. So bringing the program mostly in the radio and in television from each and every state that we are covering, make it inclusive. So nobody is left out in this. In our programming, all the states are covered on the state focus.
Do you feel that your operations are effective enough, or you have a long way to go?
We have just started by transforming the SSTV into SSBC. And this transformation, the first focus was that we have to change so many things. I and the team have worked to make sure that we have changed the screen setting, we have changed the broadcasting format, we have to change so many things. And by doing this, we have a long way to go. You know, you cannot do it in a day. Well, the challenges that are there, as you are aware, and everybody is aware of challenges, we are working actually to make sure that the bigger face that we want to give to South Sudan will come. But we have started now. You can see now the SSBC as the change. And that change will go gradually. We'll not do it overnight, but gradually we'll be able to achieve what we have planned.
You have come in just recently as the new MD for the corporation. And what vision do you bring? You have a journalistic background, so what is your vision for this thing called SSBC?
Indeed, I just came in as the first managing director of South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation. By then, it used to be Director General in the Ministry of Information appointed. But when the corporation came in, I came as the first managing director. What I came with is the vision that I came with for a corporation is that to make sure everybody identified himself or herself with this station by having a reliable information put out. 2 is to change this institution to look professional, to have a professional journalistic aspect, being governed by the media ethics, and to have a professional technical team, and to have even a professional studio. This is my vision, that we must have this ready, and at least to have this station run 24 hours to serve the nation. Another thing is that we make sure we promote our cultures and languages in our own broadcast. This is my vision, that we must have our equal languages and cultures shown to the world. This is South Sudan. Because South Sudan is not about the land, it's not territorial alone. South Sudan is not about people alone, but it's about our cultures, our languages. Putting this out, it will make us identify exactly this is South Sudan. That's my vision. So now the first thing I've done is that to make sure our screen, internationally and regionally and even nationally, is to look actually professional. And that's what we have achieved. The next now is to go into professional journalistic aspect. And then now we go to bring up our cultures in terms of programming. This is the next program that we are doing. And then professional equipment. Professional equipment definitely goes with the professional technicians that are well trained technically.
There seems to be a big gap between your vision and what is available. So how do you bridge that? Because you said that you want to set professional systems in place, but you need the manpower to be able to do it. And the current people you did not yourself recruit. So what is the challenge in terms of reaching to your vision?
Indeed, the main challenge that we are facing now is that we have to train a human resource. And to train a human resource goes with identification of what we really want to do. After we identified what we want to do now, is allow us to train the human resource to meet the requirement and the demand and the vision that we have planned for the SSBC. And by doing this, we'll do it gradually. First of all, SSBC is under public service system, and that's why we have not yet recruited. But the board of directors sat down and they are going to do the changes in the human resource. And by doing these changes in human resource, we'll have identification of a technical team and a journalist who will be able to do the journalistic work professionally. Doing this will include training. This will include giving a different scale of appointment by media industry system, not by the government or the public service system. Doing this in the media industry system, that means so many scale will change. So many scale will change. What will be the work of the reporter, and what do you do to the reporter, compared to what you do to the other any administrative person who will work on Monday to Friday and goes. That means there will be a lot of changes if the board is going to come up and change the human resource system. So doing this and meet the vision, we must train the team gradually.
These are people who have been trained since 2006 and not a lot has changed. So you probably wish to have an overhaul so that you start a completely new team. Is that your aspiration?
The corporation will do overhaul change, but not to remove people, all of them. But somebody fit in the broadcasting industry will definitely remain or will be there. But what is the arrangement? People have been trained and trained, but in the media there is specific training. Not general workshop and all this training, but there is specific training that you need. What do you need to train for news editing? Who do you need to train on a program? And who do you need to train in presentation, train on engineering sector, studio technician, and all that. This training, this time, the corporation is going to have a specific training for specific people. The identification of people among the current human resource and maybe the new human resource that will come in will be specific for a specific work, not generalized as an employment system. The media doesn't have an employment system. The media employ people according to the skill and what you can do. And that's what the corporation is going to do.
It's a great place to take a break.
Thank you.
Welcome to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Madingor. Do you have a vision for South Sudan? Do you have what it takes to build a just and cohesive South Sudanese society? What is your idea for fixing the nation? Join me for one-on-one interview. Let's debate about who we are and who we shall become.
Welcome back to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Adingor. With us is Honorable James Magok Chilimichok, the Managing Director of the South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation. His idea for fixing South Sudan, SSBC itself, making it reflective of our unity. How do we reach there? how do we reach to the point where when one sees the TV, hears the radio, they hear themselves? Our country, as we speak, is a country that is greatly divided, to put it mildly. So you must have a huge challenge ahead of you.
Yes, thank you very much. SSBC as a public broadcasting institution has that challenge. But the main thing for fixing South Sudan is to fix the mindsets of our people, the concept, the interpretation of information, the delivering way of information, and the kind of information that we are putting out. This is how we can fix South Sudan. South Sudanese have a fixed mind and a fixed information, and it's stereotyping a kind of perceiving information or transmitting information. This is what the SSBC want to do, to give reliable information, information that reflect the unity, information that reflect peace, information that build the nation. And by doing this, we must have a right way of doing it. SSBC has put a policy, which we call editorial policy, that SSBC will not be part of any conflict. It will not be a part of any division, any accusation, abusive language, all these negative aspects that divide people. So SSBC has come out to be a role model of this nation, trying to show that the nation is one. But the problem is this, Madingor. South Sudanese, and we as the people of South Sudan, our thinking have to be changed, have to be fixed. And by fixing this is that the ideas we always reflect wherever we sit and wherever we talk, they are not ideas of unity, the idea of division. For us in SSBC and for me as a person, the fixing of South Sudan, we have to fix the information we give out. Because there is misunderstanding of communication here.
The information that is going out is very limited. That is part of the challenge.
Indeed. Information is very limited. Information is very limited in terms that everybody reserves from each other. It's either we give out the limited information or we give out the wrong information at people. And this is where the media has a problem, including SSBC. We have a problem of information. The right information sometimes can be stopped not to go because of a certain fear from somebody. Or the right information can be wrongly interpreted or being translated in a wrong way by a certain person. Now people give out information suit them. Or you give out information that you feel this is the right information, you don't care about anybody else. So communication here have a problem with us. And to fix South Sudan, we have to fix the communication system.
SSBC has come under a lot of intense criticism from so many quarters. They think that it reflects a certain agenda, is dominated by certain few. And often you see some languages cropping up in the TV screen, but others are not reflected. So how do you address this?
Criticism is part of the development, and criticism is part of the feedback.
Is it legitimate?
It's part of feedback in anything you are doing as a person or an institution. SSBC can be criticized and is a part of their development. Why saying this? SSBC is being viewed by other quarters, maybe that this belong to the government or belong to certain people. And then anything coming to SSBC will be translated by a certain people as this is not right. That is their right. Their own opinion is right to them. But to us as SSBC, what we are putting outside there is for the benefit of each and every viewer, every audience, not necessarily being a South Sudanese, but every viewer is have a right of what we are giving out to view it as inclusive.
How do you make it diverse?
The diversities that, as I said earlier...
Diversity of people and also opinions.
The diversity, as I put it earlier, that people have their opinion. But you need to look at this opinion. Is it being driven by what interests? Because a person must have to put his opinion into a certain institution or into the media industry or into the media, into the medium, wanted to reach a certain interest. But this interest or this information, does it suit our public interest, our public demand? As I said earlier, us being criticized as SSBC, it means we are doing the good job. And the good job is this. If somebody did not get what suit him or suit her, we'll criticize definitely. And the challenge is this. Sometimes people wanted to use SSBC for their own interests, for their own benefit. And that's the challenge we are facing in SSBC. But SSBC is serving the entire country and the entire public. So what we give out is for the benefit of everybody. The opinion are this. We normally look at the opinion. Is this opinion for the benefit of the people, or this opinion is for a certain interest? That means if that opinion is for a certain interest, we definitely say no, this is not for the benefit of the people.
Right, there are powerful interests. And how do you steer clear from always doing what the powerful want?
What the powerful one is, sometimes we differentiate them. The messages that the government want to put across to the people. Let me be particular for that. The government wanted to talk to the people. They will still use SSBC to talk to the people. The other opinion leaders.
Let's say opposition, are they allowed to be on SSBC, or is it just purely a domain of the government?
Of course, we always have opposition on SSBC. We allow them to put their opinion. That's why I say the other opinion leaders and the other leaders in SSBC have a right to express their opinion, provided that opinion is within the limit of law and within the unity. We don't allow the opinion that divided us, that inciting us, that create conflict, that diminish other people. We don't allow that. But if your opinion is for development, is for fixing the nation, is for unity, definitely that is an opinion that we need at the people. So the opposition always, we give them chance. What we don't give chance maybe are what we call the rebels and terrorists, and that's across the world. You don't give them chance. You don't give them a platform in the public broadcast. Why? Because they are our laws. They are not within the law. But any opposition that within the law, actually recognized by law, this is opposition given chance to express their opinion freely.
Going forward, how do you see the TV and the radio playing a critical role at this time where national dialogue has been declared, yet people are not receptive to it? So how does the TV and radio change the perceptions that every idea in South Sudan has an agenda?
Mading is a very, very challenging. I have what I call South Sudanese themselves thought this country doesn't belong to them. They don't own the country in one way or the other. Everybody think like it's a passenger in the vehicle, and this vehicle have a driver who owns the vehicle. We in the broadcasting institution or SSBC, the current situation of national dialogue is a situation that everybody needs to come in. But what we are doing now, we are trying to focus on that, to let everybody come on board and speak about the peace and unity. And by doing this, we have to dialogue. Before we dialogue, our perception has to change. My perception toward you has to change. My perception toward your ideas or what you say has to change. From there, we'll dialogue. The dialogue, actually, as a media, what we do is giving everybody equal chance. By giving you equal chance, you have to come with an idea that can engage people together. But now, if you come with divided ideas, criticizing ideas, challenging ideas, for example, inciting ideas, it's not dialogue. A dialogue is that when you come to the table, you say, look, this is me, and this is you, and we own this nation together. What we need to do is to understand ourselves, and then we dialogue. Now, this dialogue, the SSBC is giving chance equally to everybody. But the idea that people are coming with could be an idea that are not for the dialogue, and these are ideas that we filtered out. But if the ideas are for peace and unity, then the dialogue will become inclusive if you come with the unity. What I'm trying to say here is that we South Sudanese, we have a mindset that anything being done by any particular person that I have disagreed with is not right. And then the other person say anything being said by the other person I disagreed with is not right. Then the question remains, who is right?
Right.
Who is right here? The only person who is right here, it is we two of us who disagreed. We sit and engage each other in talking. But if I dismiss what you are saying or what you are doing is not right, then you dismiss what I'm saying, what I'm doing, then there will be nobody right. So the right here is that I accept your idea, you accept my idea, and then we sit and engage each other and find actually a center where we can meet to achieve the unity that we want.
Right. That goes back to the role of the press, and part of the challenge we are facing is us not having a coherent vision. The press does not have a single idea of what South Sudan should be. So what do you think is the role of the press in general in a country like ours where everyone has a different priority?
The press has a role to play. Indeed, the press has a role to play if it's given chance. The press in South Sudan has a role to play by having the right information that set an agenda of fixing the mind of everybody, the right ideas. And when you have the right ideas, the right information, you'll have a better decision making. You'll have a better decision making on anything you do. A press has to give out right information. A press has to give equal opportunities. A press has to filter out wrong messages. If the press do this, we will achieve what we want. Two, South Sudan or a press sometimes divided itself based on the interests. And that interest,
usually it's tribal.
yes, and that interest can be tribal, can based on the donor funding, for example, or any funding, or any source of income. Sometimes it can be political affiliation. Okay. Sometimes can be also what the press wanted to do by themselves on a commercial base, for example. This is what driven our media in South Sudan. And then this divided the offline and online media. Sometimes we South Sudanese don't understand the media. You get something in the social media, definitely you bomb it to the offline media.
To the offline
media, which is totally different. We as offline media, we work professionally, we get reliable information and disseminate, and this is where our role should be. But the social media is there, and social media in the hand of everybody.
And what you are seeing a lot of hate speech being spewed out online.
Exactly. You see a lot of hate speech online, and this social media, those who are doing it are not professional journalists. They are not actually media industry. It is anybody else doing it. And by doing this now, the offline media should give out a real message that people should rely on, rather than rely on a social media or a social media information. Again, we have to differentiate. The offline media are the centers where you get them. The social media have no center where you get them. It is anybody with a cell phone can say anything, put anything outside there. Now for us as offline media, the challenge is that sometimes there's a difficulties to get right information.
This is also the mainstream media.
Yes, this is the mainstream media. There are difficulties of getting the right information to give it to the right people. And now some of the media, as I classified them, whether political affiliation or tribal lies or on commercial basis or any other interests, they will go and get information based on that interest and put out there. When you put out there now, the media has contributed to the division of the nation, to the conflict and instability of the nation, depending on what you put outside. But if you are a credible institution and you sit down, you know exactly who you targeted and what type of information you put out, you'll be able to look for that reliable information, how long it will take, and then put it outside there. Again, I also talk about the role of media by playing a real music. There's a real music
entertainment.
The real music entertainment that has been coded with the words that other person may not translate well, or that the other person will translate negatively. So before you put out the music, you need to see what is the content of this music and what is the message this music putting outside. This is also a responsibility of the media. And then the media also have been influenced by outsiders. The outsiders' cultures, the outsiders' information, the outsiders' ideas, forgetting their own ideas, their own local ideas, their own local cultures, their own local information. That means we as South Sudanese living in South Sudan as actually outsiders. We are not actually South Sudanese by ourselves, simply because the more ideas we put forward are what we borrowed from outside. And we neglect ours, including our own cultures, our own languages, our own way of living. We neglect them and we say the better one come outside. And you know the better one come outside also to have interest. So if the media fix that interest and put it into the public domain, definitely you destroy your public.
The problem that I see with SSBC, you are not powered by journalists. And I don't see journalism happening. Do you agree? Because it seems to be about the going out of certain people and the coming in of certain people. But South Sudan is much more than that.
Well, we are powered by journalistic aspects. The journalistic aspect that we have in SSBC, I can say, is more than any other institution or other station. What we have in SSBC professionally, you can see even our news format. You can see even our program. Yes, coming out, going out and coming in is not the only what we do, but it's an information to the public that what are the activities going on, the government activities, the public activities. Being a government or being a public broadcasting institution, always try to show to the public what is the activity the government of the day doing. By not reflecting the government of the day activities, okay, it means that people are not connected to their government, whether the government is working or not. That's why you see the SSBC is having much activities with the government activities, whether it's coming in or going out. The people go for visit, coming back to South Sudan, the leaders are moving, the leaders are doing this, is to link the public together with the government to see what they are doing.
Let's look ahead. Currently, your operations are now 24/7. So when do you hope that will change so that constantly you are communicating?
That is generally we are planning, and you know the situation in the country, not in SSBC. SSBC plan of that in the next financial year of the SSBC or next financial year, SSBC will go 24 hours. Going 24 hours with SSBC is a plan. Number one, the team that we wanted to be doing 24 hours is still under the process of that training to do it. Two, the equipment that are to run for 24 hours are still being installed so that we run the station 24 hours. This is a very important point. The reason we are not 24 hours is limited because of those. You know, you cannot just bump to 24 hours if you are not able to sustain it in terms of human resource. The human resource is a priority in this. Two, the equipment that we want to run for 24 hours are priority in this. So that's why we are suspended. But in the next financial year or in the next season to come, we will be 24 hours communicating to our public.
What do you think is the most important contribution SSBC has ever done to nation building and national unity?
Number one, SSBC, since the SSBC started the corporation, we have been giving out peace messages, starting from the conflict that happened in July. SSBC played a tremendous role by giving out a peace message, unity message, and bringing calm to the public. Two, SSBC has been engaging the public by bringing a better entertainment. It's a role that we have played that everybody is being entertained. Three, SSBC has been actually covering all the states by bringing up the program of focus on the state. That means every state program appear in SSBC as soon as being produced. That means every culture and every state is seeing itself in the national broadcast. Another thing the SSBC is doing is that we have been doing so many activities, televising the football. We televised actually football live over the weekend when the South Sudan have marched with other countries. We televised live. That is changing the mind of the people and seeing to it that South Sudan is a country that is peaceful and people have other activities to do. We were live in Djibouti, bringing this message and this important team playing in Djibouti with other nation. We have been live across the country, showing that the president is disseminating the messages of peace and people are doing normal activities. That's what SSBC has been doing. Now SSBC has changed most of the mindset. You can see in the National Prayer Day what SSBC has done. Live at night and the whole daytime. All this was about showing the whole nation that this country is a peaceful country. So putting out the unity messages and inclusive opinion that we are giving also other leaders' opinion to express their opinion is a role that played by SSBC, giving them chance, equal chance to speak out what they think about the nation. So it's only that we have not gone out of the board, maybe bringing the rebel other things, but the opinion, the equal opinion that we are giving is building the peace in this country.
We don't see your journalists going to hot spots when there's a famine declared. We see very limited coverage of that. Is it a function of lack of resources or lack of a political will to do it?
No. Sometimes there will be an issue of resources for us to go to certain places. But the main thing, when the famine was declared, SSBC played a great role. Number one, when it was declared, the famine, SSBC was one of the public broadcasting institutions that broadcast it to the nation. Two, SSBC went in when the contributions being done, including the Great Run Marathon was running for the famine in the country. SSBC actually did that. When the other agencies talk about including the humanitarian agency and Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, when they were talking about famine, SSBC actually do the broadcasting. Only what SSBC hasn't done is going to the field, to some particular places where the famine is declared. We did not go to those places based on logistical challenges that are facing SSBC. But in the near future, we will go to those places.
What would you like to see or hear on SSBC for you to feel that, yes, we have done our job as a broadcaster?
What I like to see in SSBC is that I see that South Sudanese are speaking the same language. It's a language of peace. And that's what we feel that South Sudan has done this, covering the whole country and live everywhere, that where South Sudanese are doing their activities. They are doing their cultural activities, they are doing their wedding, they are doing their peace activities, they are performing their dancing, okay? They are doing so many good things in their places. Seeing this in the TV will make me pleased, because I know South Sudanese now are enjoying their own nation. Not seeing all the war on the screen, conflict, somebody with stone face talking disappointed. At least these things should go away. The day I see people smiling on the screen, ululations, and people are joking, and comedian are entertaining, the music are entertaining, that's where I will know that now SSBC is doing a good thing and the nation is safe for all of us. That's what I like to see.
Thanks for coming on. Fixing South Sudan. Have you fixed the country?
Yes.
This program is brought to you by Donku Communication Company Limited. Fixing South Sudan. Ideas for the new nation.